Claire McCaskill, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
It's about time.
Sorry.
Honestly, you're on everybody else's air.
But no, not that much. Not in the last month.
What?
Not in the last month.
Oh,
now,
come on.
What we did do in December, we kept our open Wednesday mornings where every Wednesday morning any radio station could call in and ask any question they wanted. But
on
for
the conference?
December, I was pretty much hunkered down trying to work on this stuff. And
what do you mean every what was that? It was the November open radio what?
We do every Wednesday morning, Jamie. We do a radio call where any radio station can call in, and I do about 2 or 3 minutes, and you can take what you want and leave the rest, and then everybody who calls in can ask any question they want. We do that every single Wednesday morning when I'm in D.C. So we kept doing that, but I really didn't do other interviews, but I feel badly. I should have been on sooner, and I apologize.
Well,
it's not because I don't love you.
Well, it would have helped because perhaps we would have had some influence on your vote because right now we have this gigantic welfare package that had how could you possibly vote for something that has no bipartisan support and very little public support? It just amazes me, especially you coming from a background of fiscal responsibility. When you were running for the U.S. Senate, you're like, oh no, I'm a fiscally responsible, conservative Democrat, and I'm gonna watch the books. And yet, here you vote for a package that has no bipartisan support. Public support is so obviously against it, and you go yes.
Well, first of all, let me tell you that unlike most of the people who are saying that they're opposed to this bill, I've actually read it. Unlike most of the people who say they're opposed to this bill, I have actually spent the time trying to improve the bill and make it more moderate. Unlike most of the people who are against this bill, I am not out spreading misinformation about what it does and doesn't do. And I will honestly tell you that a lot of the people that are against it, because on your show, honestly, Jamie, you hear most of your listeners have one point of view. I get all points of view, including the people who are now against it because they wanted public option.
Oh no, I have a lot of listeners with a lot of different points of view, and I take their phone calls all the time. Let me ask you though, what have you done to make the bill more moderate again? Well,
one thing, I made sure that we put small business tax credits for businesses that offer insurance to their employees beginning immediately. They will get a tax credit, a tax break,
which is
but you still want
basically.
But you still want to allow them. You still want to allow them, for instance, to pool their resources and buy insurance policies across state borders, which has been.
They can under the bill. And the way the bill has been finally drafted, the states do have the ability to go together in exchanges when the exchanges begin, and these changes are going to come incrementally, so it doesn't happen all at once. Many of the good things will happen immediately. A lot of the provisions will come in various years down the line, 1, 2, 3, and 4 years down the line. But they are going to be able to go together as states. But,
and which bill is that?
About that, Jamie. Let me make this point, because it's an important one. I have people screaming at me about states' rights. Now, we can't have it both ways. You can't tell people in Washington to leave us alone and let the states decide, and then come in and with one wave of the wand say, whatever you want to do in your state, forget about it.
Well, it's not a mandate. It wouldn't be
able to buy insurance from New York. In Missouri, we have a law that does not allow insurance companies to cover abortion, period. Well, that's something that the people in Missouri, through their state legislature, felt strongly about.
But Senator McCaskill,
should the federal government be able to override that?
Well, no, but I'm not calling it. It's not a mandate that insurance that small businesses pool their money together and go across borders and buy. All it is lifting the restriction.
Yes.
But if you lift the restriction, what you're saying is the state's restrictions have no meaning, and the federal government's rules are best.
Well, no. Senator, I don't understand.
The states have no ability to regulate their own marketplaces, and that's not what the constitutional framers wanted.
Well, Senator, I don't understand how we can sit here and debate what is in the bill, because we have the House version, the Senate version. We have no idea what's going to be in the final version because you have not let us be privy to the discussions of that.
And you guys aren't going to have a conference committee over it, which normally happens.
One at a time, easy.
Well, honestly.
Well, this is what happens when you don't come on for months.
Well, this is the bill that I voted on. I'd read every word, including the amendment. The amendment was online for 2 or 3 days before we voted. I read all 9 titles, plus all the amendments. And I agree that we should be having a conference. I agree that the C-SPAN cameras should be in there. I would like the C-SPAN cameras to be in the room in the Republican caucus when those political discussions are going on. I've got no problem with them being in our caucus when political discussions are going on. I'd love to hear the conversations between Mitch McConnell and Olympia Snowe. I'd love to hear the conversations between Bart Stupak and Nancy Pelosi. I'd love to hear some, to hear some of those conversations. But this is, frankly, at this point in the bill, it's not unusual for everyone to be circling around and talking, as we were throughout the whole process. But nothing's going to get voted on that's not going to be public and very transparent. And there are hundreds and hundreds of hours of hearings and Republican amendments that are on this bill that people can watch, and nobody goes on and watches them on C-SPAN.
Have you publicly confronted Senator Reid and said, I do not want to bypass the conference committee? Because what happens is when you have folks, what we're talking about is when you have a House bill that's different from a Senate bill, tradition has it you're going to have a conference committee.
Yes, not really. Most of the bills there's not really.
But I'm talking. But this is massive healthcare reform. I mean, this is not just another bill.
This is not unusual, though. I think you were saying that you were implying this is unusual. It's not.
Okay. Well, then common sense would tell you that something as major as this, you all would agree that this is a major transformation of our healthcare situation in the U.S. So, of course, something this large, when you have a difference of opinion from the House and the Senate, you're going to have a conference committee. So if you told Senator Reid, you know what, this is ridiculous. How could we possibly do this to the American public by not having a conference committee? And you're shutting out Republicans then at that point, because all you have are Pelosi, Reid, and the White House.
Well, no, you don't. You have others that I'm sure that are in the mix.
What Republicans are in?
Olympia Snowe and Susan Collins are in the mix. I'm sure that...
That's a confidence builder.
Yeah, exactly.
To have Olympia Snowe in there? I mean, honestly.
I'm sure that there's many other people that are being talked to. And yes, I've let the leadership office know. I publicly have stated that I think this is... And frankly, you know, Jamie, this is... They're not... Maybe they don't hear me as loudly as I would like them to, because this is the same complaint I make about all the appropriations bills, when everybody goes behind closed doors and cuts deals for their states.
But see, Claire, here's the deal. You're on, for instance, Meet the Press all the time. You're on Fox News Sunday. You're a network talking head star on all these shows, and I haven't heard you once take Senator Reid to task over the bypassing of the conference committee.
Well, I haven't been on one of those shows since this all developed. I can assure you that if I am on one of those shows, if I'm on cable news, or if I'm on one of those, I'm sure I will get asked the question as you guys have asked, and I will obviously give the exact same answer.
Why don't you issue a news release, and then they'll invite you on? Because you know what will happen is, instead of just like saying, well, if I accidentally run into Chris Wallace, I might say that, why don't you actually issue a news release, actually hold a news conference, and say, you know what, I'm Senator Claire McCaskill, all the Sunday snoozers love me, and I don't want to bypass the conference committee. No, I mean, come on, you're always on these shows, and and obviously I'm sure that people appreciate that.
You know, I am. You know, I will do, Jamie, as particularly because I feel like I need to have some. Well, I need to apologize about not being on your show as often as you would like. I will put out a statement today that says that. I'm
fantastic.
Happy to do that.
And you know what? I bet you what will happen is you'll be on Fox News or live with somebody, because it's going to be a huge move if Senator Claire McCaskill directly confronts Senator Harry Reid and says bypassing the conference committee is unfair to the American people, especially given the size and scope of this transformation of our healthcare system in the U.S.
Yes.